All right, so this is the vocabulary for anyone who is catching up on late work or is learning at home. So once again, the South America Unit vocab. First word is poverty. The definition is having little to no money. So if you hear if someone's poor, they're living in poverty, that basically just means they barely have enough or do not have enough to get by. There is socioeconomic status, which has a lot to do with poverty, but also the other ranges. So it is a person's position in society based on their wealth and jobs. So what that kind of means is, you have the rich people, they're usually called the upper class. You have the middle class, which is you're not rich, but you're a little bit more well off. And then you have lower class, which is like, people living in poverty or people who have much less to get by. So their position in society, it's kind of just like how you refer to them. So a rich person lives in this neighborhood. Oh, that's an upper class neighborhood, or that's a middle class neighborhood. Or yeah, that's just pretty much it. It's a fancy word, but not too hard of a definition. Then we have inequality, when things are not equal / not the same, or when things are not the same or not equal. So as the picture shows, you have one person with a bunch of money and another person with less money. Maybe when inequalities are the strongest is like when people, do the same work, but they're paid less based off of things like race or gender, or they live in the same neighborhoods, but they're treated differently. Those are all examples of inequality. And then we have favela, which is essentially a slum or a very, very poor neighborhood in Brazil, common for people with little money to live in favelas. So if we're talking about socioeconomic status, the lower class people of Brazil, those who are in poverty, due to inequality, they live in a favela. So it's really packed together, not as safe. They don't have as good access to water, things like that. And then we have gentrification. So this is something that happens in almost every neighborhood, but you have the process of improving a neighborhood in order to attract wealthier residents. This makes it so the current residents can no longer afford to live there. So if we're using in-unit examples, maybe they tear down a bunch of these houses and they put a bunch of super fancy rich people houses. So the people who are living there, well, they can't live in these new places, so they kind of get kicked out of their neighborhood that they've been living forever. That is gentrification.